This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. This time, Sheng was really shocked. Heng and Yu also had their mouths wide open. They were all stunned. A ninth-tier alchemist was like a god, and even a martial emperor could not meet them easily. But now, he had been brought into the divine realm tablet by Yunxiao. How big of a face did he have? The group of 6 immediately felt unusually nervous. Even though they were in the air, they still felt somewhat uncomfortable. They were always afraid that their image was not right and that they would make Grandmaster unhappy. You're the last one left, old Yuan. At least submit to me for the time being. Yunxiao stared at Yuan Gaohan and said indifferently. In the silent air, only the sound of gasps could be heard as they all looked at Yunxiao in horror. What did he just say? Did I hear it right? He wanted to make a 9th-tier alchemist submit to him? Everyone was shocked, but Yuan Gohan's face was gloomy and uncertain, unable to make a decision. If he agreed, where would he put his face? If he didn't agree, he would be the meat on the chopping block. Not to mention not letting you out, even if I let you out, you will still die. His eyes flashed with a look of intense struggle. Yunxiao could see his concern, so he said with a smile, while I'm recovering my peak strength, you only need to help me refine some equipment and pills. I won't let you do anything other than refining. In addition, you'll have unexpected gains here. Yuan Gohan's heart suddenly moved. Thinking that this was a saint weapon, his eyes suddenly burst out with a strong light. Yunxiao smiled as a beam of golden light streaked across the air. Wherever it passed, golden tadpole-like characters faded away. It was the Great Realm Divine Technique. After the time it took to brew a cup of tea, more than 100 words appeared. Yuan Gaohan almost forgot to breathe, a deep look of desire appearing on his face as he said, "Good. During this period of time, I will submit to you and help you recover your strength with all my heart and soul." However, those words just now. As soon as he agreed, the 7 people's faces changed, and they finally revealed looks of surprise. Who else could subdue a 9th-tier alchemist except those peak martial sovereigns or those who were like super forces? Yunxiao was overjoyed. He nodded and said with a smile, "No problem. You can study those 100 words as you wish. I only know a few of them, and I need your help to decipher them." Moreover, what he needed more was Yuan Gohan's alchemy ability. As an 8th-tier starlight soul body, it was equivalent to the strength of an 8th-tier alchemist, which was enough for him to refine many special pills that he could not refine at his current stage. Let's not waste any time. Let's work together to control this divine realm tablet and let him cross the galaxy. Otherwise, everything will be in vain. Yunxiao looked at the other 7 and said, "Don't go either. It's always good to have more strength, no matter how insignificant it is." At that moment, the 7 men admired and obeyed Yunxiao from the bottom of their hearts, and they dared not overstep their boundaries. Even Yu was a little nervous. With a 9th-tier alchemist present, he did not even dare to speak loudly to Yunxiao. Yunxiao set up a huge array in the air and sat opposite Yuan Gaohan, while the other 7 people stood around him, all looking at him nervously. The deity technique that controls this saint artifact is called the Great Realm Deity Technique. The meaning behind it is unclear, so I can only use the power of the characters to control the power of the saint artifact. Now, old Yuan, you will cooperate with me and use this formation to unleash the power of the Great Realm Divine Technique's words. When it enters the Milky Way, there will definitely be a large amount of terrifying energy rushing in from the outer space. Everyone must work together to resist it. Yes. Everyone, including Yuan Gaohan, shouted in unison. The divine realm tablet was like a house that was leaking air on all sides. Water would definitely enter if it rained. Without saying anything more, Yunxiao began to use the energy in his body to manifest the Great Realm Divine Technique on the array. For a moment, a golden light flickered, and over 100 characters kept shaking in the air. Each character contained great power, but they were like locked boxes, and the profound meaning could not be understood. Yuan Gohan's heart trembled as he hurriedly cast a spell and poured his strength into the circular array. His 8th order soul power rushed into it and immediately stabilized the golden characters in the air, preventing them from immediately disappearing. The entire divine realm tablet was suspended at the edge of the galaxy. Suddenly, a golden light flashed on the tablet, and the patterns on it kept emerging. The entire tablet became very spiritual. Whoosh! The divine realm tablet turned into a ray of light and rushed into the river of stars in the golden light, looking in the direction of the heavenly martial continent. Wherever the golden light passed, all forces were repelled and pushed to both sides, like a pair of scissors cutting through a piece of cloth. In the distance, the demon and the crocodile's battle was also gradually coming to an end. The large amount of earth floating in the air was originally thought to be a piece of ruins, but it was all gathered under the control of the ancient tower. It formed a desert around the ancient tower, and in the end, it was sucked into the ancient tower along with the crocodile formed by the wind. After taking back the countless pieces of broken earth, the ancient pagoda seemed to have some intelligence, and the patterns on it flickered continuously. Looking in through the window on the tower, one could see the sky full of yellow sand and all kinds of ruins. They were in different levels and spaces of the tower, and the crocodile was at the bottom level, roaring repeatedly but to no avail. The ancient god's battlefield is too severely damaged. We must reopen the earth, water, fire, and wind fields to restore it to its original peak power. The demon looked at the spinning tower in his hand with worry. He muttered, "These ruins and the immemorial astral winds just so happen to be able to be refined into the power of the earth and wind domains. I'm only lacking the water and fire elements." He cast his gaze to the heavenly martial arts realm in the distance, and suddenly saw the divine realm tablet shuttling back and forth in the galaxy. His pupils were slightly shocked, and he said in surprise, "Why does it look so much like that saint artifact?" The demon's eyes were weird and he said in shock, "Could it really be?" He suddenly clenched the ancient god's battlefield in his hand and gathered all the demonic chi in the sky. Then, he turned it into a ray of light and rushed forward. In the dark night, he was like a star that had been extinguished as he chased after the demon. The entire space kept shrinking and retreating under his light. In an instant, he came to the edge of the Milky Way. He stared at the divine realm tablet, and his face became more and more solemn. His divine sense entered the Milky Way and felt the terrifying power inside. His expression suddenly changed. After thinking for a while, he gritted his teeth and said, "I'll repair my ancient god's battlefield first, and then I'll find the person who made the divine realm tablet." Since that person had the divine realm tablet, it wasn't a good time to be hostile to him for the time being to prevent the saint artifact from being damaged further. However, it's not that easy to escape back to the realm of heavenly martial arts so smoothly. The ancient tower disappeared in a flash in his hand, and a huge demonic shadow appeared behind him immediately, transforming into a dharma form with 3 heads and 6 arms. Each of his hands made a seal, and then a large amount of demonic chi gushed out from the 6 seals, constantly condensing and surging, and finally forming a black and shiny ball. It flew out of his hand, rushed into the silver river, and chased after the divine realm tablet. The great demon stared coldly at the light of the divine realm tablet in the distance and said in a cold voice, "I'll let you off this time. I'll only give you a little trouble. You won't be so lucky next time." After he finished speaking, his body disappeared into thin air at the edge of the Milky Way. After that, they only saw a spot of light wrapped around an ancient pagoda. It kept flashing in the dark night, heading in the opposite direction of the realm of heavenly martial arts. At this moment, in a bustling street of a city somewhere on the heavenly martial continent, a man dressed in a blue robe with butterfly patterns strolled around with great interest, as if he was curious about everything. Suddenly, he stopped and his pupils shrank. He raised his head in horror, trying to see through the layers of the sky. However, there were no clouds for thousands of miles. The sky was clear and he could not see anything. Just as he was bewildered, his head suddenly ached violently, as if a large amount of complicated information had been injected into it. It gave him a splitting headache, and he held his head and roared. The pedestrians on the street were all shocked and immediately made way for him. They watched as the handsome man held his head and screamed. Soon, he rolled on the ground in pain. In the end, his legs opened up and he stopped moving. He lay on the ground, but his face was calm. Only his brows were tightly knitted. Hey, what's wrong with that person? It can't be dead, right? It's possible. The epilepsy was so severe just now. He was a good young man, but he died just like that. Sigh, life is really unpredictable. This man is quite handsome, what a pity, could he be alive? Anyone who knows medicine can go up and take a look. Don't harm me. If I go up to take a look and he suddenly wakes up and says that I knocked him down, then I won't be able to clear my name even if I jump into the Yellow River. Don't worry, everyone will be your witness. There are so many witnesses, and they will all be on your side. Everyone, right?
Yeah.
The surrounding people immediately responded, and one of the big men even shouted, as everyone can see, this man fell because of his epilepsy, and it has nothing to do with the old doctor. If the young man wants to be unreasonable and refuse to pay the medical fee, we will all testify for the old doctor. I will. The people around him said with a righteous look. Only then did an old doctor dare to step forward and squat down to take the man's pulse. As soon as he touched her pulse with 2 fingers, his entire body trembled, and his face revealed a shocked expression. His eyes became paralyzed and lifeless, as if he had turned into a fossil. Thank you, old man. I'm fine. The young man suddenly did it himself and moved his hand away. The old doctor was quick-witted and came back to his senses. He looked at the man in horror, screamed in fear, and ran away like crazy. TSK. You're lying on the ground and pretending to be dead, really. The onlookers only felt that it was boring and dispersed. The young man's expression turned serious and his eyes glowed with a faint blue light. He stared into the depths of the sky and his handsome face was exactly the same as the man who owned the battlefield of ancient gods. It was Dijia who came out of Mount Meru. The Divine Realm tablet shuttled through the Milky Way galaxy at a high speed and was hit by the Black Devil Chi that was chasing after it, making a huge vibration and a loud rumble. Fortunately, the Black Devil Chi was almost worn down by the various terrifying energies in the Sheng River. But even so, it stuck to the surface of the Divine Realm tablet like maggots in a corpse and could not be removed. As a result, the golden light emitted by the Divine Realm tablet gradually dimmed. After a few breaths, the golden light brightened again and the black demonic chi completely disappeared. It actually rushed into the space inside the steel. Inside the Divine Realm tablet, everyone first felt a violent tremor and almost lost control. When they finally stabilized themselves, the entire sky suddenly darkened again. Devil Chi rolled in the air and roared down. Everyone was taken aback, and they were all extremely vigilant. Duan Yu and the others all held all kinds of profound-level weapons in their hands, ready to fight at any time. Yuan Gaohan poured all of his soul power into the array, and at this moment, he was bitterly holding on, the light on his body flickering. What's with your saint artifact? It's like a leaking boat, anything can come in. Yunxiao smiled wryly and said, didn't I say it was damaged? I'm having a headache too. Is there anyone in the entire realm of heavenly martial arts who can cultivate this kind of thing? After a brief pause, Yuan Gaohan fell silent, his eyes flashing with excitement as he looked at Yunxiao from time to time. I'm afraid I'll have to rely on you to repair the Divine Realm tablet, Yunxiao said with a smile. This was also the main reason why he wanted Yuan Gaohan to submit to him, because he couldn't find a second reliable alchemist master who had the ability to repair the Divine Realm tablet. Yuan Gaohan was overjoyed and quickly nodded, don't worry, I'll do everything I can to fix it. It was a great honor for every alchemist to be able to touch a profound-level weapon of this level and get involved in it themselves. Even a 9th-tier alchemist could only come across such an opportunity by chance. Just like how Yunxiao had hoped to see Noah's ship at that time. In the study of alchemy, every alchemist put it first, which was far more important than any other interests. At this time, the demonic chi that poured in from all directions began to wreak havoc, whistling down. Duan Yu and the other 7 raised their energy to the maximum and rushed forward with a roar. Dark Thunder was also fighting against the demonic energy with its lightning flashing. Yunxiao was shocked when he saw this. That great demon is probably an existence of the nine heavens realm. It's just a ball of demonic qi, and it's been consumed from a very far distance, but it's already so overbearing. The demon that was released this time seemed to be much more powerful than Dijia. Back in Mount Meru, they had been able to fight with Dijia for a long time with the combat power of martial emperors. The last wisp of divine sense of a martial emperor had almost suppressed him. This time, even the crocodile formed by the immemorial astral wind could not suppress the devil. He also had a sacred weapon, the battlefield of ancient gods. This was really a huge mess. Other than those super forces, no one else would be able to contend against them. Yuan Gaohan's face was also filled with worry, as if a trace of regret had appeared. Saint artifacts have appeared in large numbers, and the heavenly fortune is afraid of changes. That demon coming out at this time is also God's will, it can't be completely blamed on us. Yunxiao looked at the demonic aura and said with a serious face, if there's really something big, it's a tribulation of this era that can't be resisted by human power. He formed a seal with one hand, and a bright red color immediately gushed out from the ground. The true phoenix fire soared into the sky. Just as Yuan Gaohan began to think about his words, he was shocked and his eyes revealed a look of horror. The infinite power contained in the flames made him feel a little shaken. He asked in horror, what kind of flame is this? It's actually an elemental power that's approaching the origin. It's the natal divine flame of the ancient true spirit phoenix, Yunxiao said expressionlessly. Unfortunately, my strength is too low, so I can't control it well. Otherwise, with this flame, even if we were to fight the great demon, the outcome would be uncertain. Who the hell are you? Yuan Gaohan was dumbfounded and asked in a daze. You have the true phoenix fire too? He suddenly understood and said in surprise, you went to the outer space to collect the immemorial astral wind and open up the earth, water, fire, and wind? Yunxiao showed a look of praise and said, I don't have the ability to reopen earth, water, fire, and wind. The divine realm tablet contained the 4 territories, which formed a world of its own and could even nourish all things. However, when I obtained the saint artifact, it was already extremely damaged. I had to try to activate the 4 territories, and I successfully activated the fire and earth territories. Yuan Gaohan was shocked and muttered, you've activated 2 territories, so you still have the earth origin element. Now, you've also obtained the immemorial astral wind. All you need is the water origin. It's very likely that you can repair it. At this moment, the true phoenix flame rushed into the sky and burned wildly at the demonic qi. It quickly dispersed the demonic qi and continued to escape, as if it still had intelligence. Yunxiao's brows furrowed even more when he saw the result. This is going to be a little troublesome. The devil qi can't be dispelled. It has dissolved and hidden in the divine realm tablet. It's fine, Yuan Gaohan said. As long as we can repair this divine monument, the power of the territory will spread out, and the demonic qi will have no way to escape. The two of them stopped talking and silently worked together to control the formation. The divine realm tablet soon passed through the Milky Way space, turned into a meteor, and fell toward the land of the heavenly martial realm. Under the starry night, clear waves of green grass, deep in the winter. Yin Yan, why did you call me here? If you don't give me an explanation, I won't let you off today. A delicate and pretty woman was furious. She was dressed in a flowery collared brocade robe and had a jade hairpin in her hair. Her body exuded a faint yuan qi fluctuation, and she was clearly a cultivator. She looked to be about 16 or 17 years old, and he was very wary of the man in front of him. His eyes were full of anger. Of course it's a great thing. Otherwise, how would I dare to disturb junior sister Dong's cultivation? This man called Yin Yan tried to ingratiate himself to her, but it didn't seem to have much effect. Not only was his junior sister Mei Dong unhappy, but she also looked down on him even more. Yin Yan stopped smiling and said awkwardly, the sect competition is the day after tomorrow. Only the top 10 disciples can be accepted as the personal disciples of the sect leader. Mei Dong's face turned cold as she said, you know this, but you still come to disturb me at such a critical moment. If there's nothing else, I'm going back to cultivate. Senior brother Yin Yan.
Goodbye.
Mei Dong turned around and was about to leave. Junior sister Dong, I've gone through a lot of trouble to find a Migra's inner core. Yin Yan hurriedly said. Mei Dong's figure suddenly came to a stop. Under the starry sky and moonlight, her back view appeared graceful and graceful. Yin Yan's heart palpitated with excitement as he looked at her. Mei Dong slowly turned around and carefully asked, "What did you just say? You have a Migra's inner core?" She asked very carefully, as if she couldn't believe it. Yin Yan heaved a sigh of relief and suppressed the evil fire in his chest. He revealed a proud expression and said, "Of course. Otherwise, I wouldn't dare to waste junior martial sister's precious time. This Migra's inner core is ranked 5th, and its quality has reached the level of high grade. As long as junior sister Dong consumes it tonight, she will definitely be able to break through to the level of a 6 stars martial grandmaster before the sex grand competition the day after tomorrow. She will be able to suppress all her fellow sect members and become the personal disciple of the sect leader." The smile on his face was extremely ugly, causing Mei Dong to feel nauseated. However, she couldn't resist the temptation of the Migra's inner core, and said, "This Migra's inner core is extremely precious. It can be sold for a sky-high price of at least several million mid-grade origin stones outside. If senior brother were to consume it, his strength would also increase greatly, and it would be equivalent to several years of bitter cultivation." Yin Yan smiled, shook his head, and sighed. "Sigh, I'll probably be stuck at the 1-star martial grandmaster level for the rest of my life. After all, I took too many supplementary medicines when I broke through to 6 Directions realm, causing endless disasters. I'm afraid I won't be able to advance in my life." He was originally a disciple of a big family, but he had been stuck at the peak of the martial king realm for many years. Feeling hopeless, he had collected a large number of supplementary pills and even invited 2 martial arts grandmasters to help him with their origin power. Only then did he break through the barrier and become a martial arts grandmaster. However, there had been no progress for the past few years. No matter how hard he cultivated, he could only reach his current cultivation level. After that, no matter how much medicine he used, there was no improvement at all. Finally, he gradually despaired and no longer thought about cultivating. He spent his days drinking and doing nothing, which also caused many disciples in the sect to feel disgusted. Although Yin Yan was also a playboy in the past, he spent most of his time on cultivation. After he gave up on himself, he became a complete playboy. He thought about how to pick up women all day long, especially the female disciples in the sect who had promising futures. They seemed to think that they couldn't make it, so they wanted to save the country and find a more powerful wife. In addition, his family background was indeed good. They were rich and had a large amount of cultivation resources. This caused many female sect members to throw themselves into his arms. He did not refuse any of them, but after tasting so much delicious meat, he wanted to find a good one more. Thus, he set his eyes on Mei Dong. Mei Dong's family background was also not simple. She seemed to be a member of the legendary Mei family, but she was only a branch. Although her surname was Mei, she could not enjoy the benefits of the Mei family. She was no different from the children of ordinary families and cultivated under the Big Dipper sect. However, Mei Dong's talent was indeed extraordinary. She had stepped into the 6 Directions realm at the age of 15. In the following year or so, she had broken through 5 stars in a row and rushed to the peak of the 5-star martial grandmaster realm. Although this kind of speed wasn't completely unique, it was definitely one of the best within the sect. There were rumors that even if Mei Dong couldn't get into the top 10 in this competition, the sect leader still had the intention of taking her as a personal disciple. After all, it was extremely difficult to find a good seedling. In addition, Mei Dong's family background was the legendary Mei family's bloodline. If they were to discuss it, it wouldn't lose to the Big Dipper sect. All these factors made Mei Dong Yin Yan's biggest target.